What's up, guys?
Oh my goodness. All right. So, today we're going to do something a little different. Different format. We're going to go, we got our top 5 list. We both made one. And
They're all green.
we didn't show each other. I'm going to rip my 5 and show Isaiah what I think the 5th best non-engine this format is. And we'll talk about it a little bit. He might roast me, who knows. And then we'll talk about his. We'll go up the list and see what each other thinks. And you guys can probably drive some inspiration from these lists. We play a lot of YuGiOh.
I'll save this one.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Calm down.
I was going to ask, are we going to do that after we're done completely, or are we going to go
after we're done completely?
Okay, cool.
We are going to look at the top 5 from Goo Gaming as a whole. So I polled our entire competitive team, and this is what they think the top 5 non-engine this format is, with a little extra down here. So yeah, you guys can kind of try to guess what that is throughout the video. They probably know better than us.
Yeah. Especially me.
They're just not as entertaining.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I am going to go ahead.
What you got? What do you think the 5th best non-engine?
This is going to be a hot take. You
I
ready?
might leave.
You ready? This is going to be a hot take.
He taped it too good.
I taped it too good. Oh! Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring.
You think Ash is the 5th best?
5th best.
5th best non-engine. That's kind of crazy. See? Like,
Yep.
I think Ash is really good right now. Like, that's wild.
Yeah.
Like,
So here's the thing.
now I'm like, I don't even care about the Ash. Like, what the heck is there?
So, but like, okay. So Ash is really, really good. And I think that a reason that it could probably be further up is that it negates Mole Charming. But I think that these are more impactful.
See, that's wild to me. And I'll get there. Somewhere else I'll get there on my opinion on that. But, like, because, like, I think Ash is just, you know, it's a staple. It's 3 of, and everybody's main deck 90% of the time. But, like, I think in this specific format, this short format we had before Niagara, that most of the decks in the format, other than, like, the top 2 decks, are going to be roguish decks. And Ash is just insane against them.
They
so,
are.
Like,
Ash is also really good against the Fiendsmith stuff. It's good against Fiendsmith stuff.
These other 4 cards are going to be Exodia. There's 5 pieces of Exodia for my non-engine, bro. Like,
it's yeah, like it should probably be further up the list. But like me personally, I am a big fan of the like really impactful non-engine cards right now.
Okay.
I think that like for example, like a board wipe is like in my opinion really good right now, as opposed to Ash. But I think Ash is really good, so it's on here. It's number 5. It should probably be up here somewhere, but
yeah, I mean,
here we go. What's your number 5, Isaiah?
my number 5 is Thomas. If you can't see him, Dark Cloud. If you haven't seen one of these shirts yet, googaming.com.
Please buy him. We need to play Clifton.
Buy Thomas. We got to pay Clifton. We don't pay Thomas. Thomas gets nothing of this but embarrassment, so please.
Yeah, he gets no commission.
All right, let's see if I have better tape.
Ribbit.
It's Ghost Ogre. I don't write well, so I didn't write the full card name. I think it's Ghost Ogre. So, I'm a fan of Ghost
Cashier Ogre.
No, it's not Cashier Ogre. Don't do this to me. That card sucks. You know, I love Ghost Ogre, so anytime I think it's playable, I'm going to try it. It's like one of my favorite cards in the game. It's on my skin, you know, cool. Don't need that. I think Ghost Ogre is actually very powerful right now, especially with how, quote, dumbed down the format is. It's okay against YuGiOh, like the best, in my opinion, the best deck right now. Like, It's okay. But against every other deck, has very impactful hits. Like, a lot of people thought it wasn't going to be played because we're getting rid of the Appaloosa, but, like, every other deck has so many choke points where if you Ghost Ogre, they're just like, what do I do?
I mean, YuGiOh, like, you hit the Nightmare Pain.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's pretty good.
It's not insane against YuGiOh, but you pair that with any other hand trap, it's going to put them in a choke point they just don't know what to do with.
Yeah, no, Ogre's really good. Ogre's really good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think the card will see play in some sort of this format.
I think it will. I mean, it already has. Like, the regional Clifton just won, he played Ghost Ogre.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did say it was mid, but he played it.
That's before
and
banlist.
he won the regional.
Before the banlist.
That is before the banlist.
The decks have
That's
dumbed
true.
down just a little bit.
That's true. Yeah, in like a slower-ish format, like, Ogre's really good. All right.
Evenly matched.
Evenly matched.
Okay, I see that.
I put this, so I was like debating on these two, but this is really impactful. Evenly matched against YuGiOh, which is the best deck.
Yeah.
Destroys it. Also, we're seeing a lot of Rescue Ace. We're seeing a lot of like decks that set up big boards without Omni Negates. YuGiOh does set up an Omni Negate, but this paired with any other like negate card, just absolutely wins that
Imperm
matchup.
evenly you win the game.
Imperm evenly. I'm currently playing Dark Ruler in my deck, in my side deck as well. So like Imperm or Dark Ruler plus evenly just wins the game.
Yeah.
And this wins the game in a lot of matchups. Like if you're not playing against YuGiOh, against a lot of other matchups, you just win the game if you activate evenly.
Yeah,
so.
I think the card's very good. And like another deck that is on the rise, I'm not sure how really good it is, but on the rise is Memento after the ban list.
Yeah.
And that card is very good against Memento. Like they don't set up an Omni, and like their biggest interaction is their 5 negate through the trap of the monster. If you even them, they don't have that.
Yeah.
You know, they're probably keeping the Caesar or something because like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like the reason I put it lower is because against the best deck, you have to typically have another card for it to be really impactful.
Yeah.
But against like everything else it's good against, it just blows it out.
If you're resolving evenly, is insane.
Yeah, exactly. And last format, that wasn't necessarily the case.
Mm-hmm.
But this format, I think that's going to be the case. So, big fan.
I think it's solid. All right. Mine is Talents.
Talents.
So I hated this card last format. I hate this card most of the time. But I was talking to Jabin on the way over here about how I think that the format is going to push away from the board breaker approach people have been playing, like the change of heart and stuff like that in the main deck. And I think people are going to start playing thrust, talents, and stuff along those lines. Because, like, I think a lot of people are going to be playing more hand traps. And if you get hand trapped 2 or 3 times and then you can just rip a card out of their hand, like, there's not a whole lot of one-card starters, really. Like, that, because you're going to have hand traps in your hand, too. Like, I really just think that card playing into how many hand traps we're going to see with ghost ogres and stuff like that. I think this card was in.
I do think that like for the perfect knowledge aspect and for ripping and for drawing, I think that card right now is really like underrated as far as like just using it as like a prosperity, like just draw 2.
Yeah.
Because we don't have prosperity anymore. I personally don't think it's as good now as it was because we don't have Apo. I think that like a draw to talents was always like just being able to take the Apo and auto win games.
Yep.
And now we can't do that, so I personally don't like it as much now.
That's fair. I mean, I get that. I mean, I'm not. The taking aspect is not as powerful. I get it. I think the hand ripping, in my opinion, is really powerful going first because back to the multiple hand traps, people playing the Veilers, Imperm doesn't matter, but Veiler, Ogre, Ash, and like that. Like, back to what I was saying with the decks are dumbing down is they can't play through multiple interruptions as easy. So, like, if you get hand trapped once, you talents look at their hand, you rip the hand trap, now they have 3 cards. You're going to have Imperm Ash in your hand regardless. You can probably still full combo through what's left, so it's just... I think you resolving that card, ripping card in their hand, most of the time you should win the game.
That's fair. I mean, you definitely should. You definitely should. It's a love-hate card for me. So, right now, I'm on the fence.
That's fair. I'm going next.
Next it is.
The Bystials.
Bystials.
They're just crazy, bro. Like,
Yeah.
even with people thinking the Fiendsmith engine's not going to be as powerful because they hit the fusion, no one cares. Like, the cards are still insane. And Yubel's still insane. Like, if you're resolving a Bystial, especially Magma should be banned. Like, I'm sorry, it should. That card is insane.
Card's
and
really good.
if you're resolving a Bystial and you're keeping the body before you even start your turn, you should probably win that game.
Logan was saying recently that, like, he thinks that building up bodies right now is really good. That was a couple weeks ago, but, I mean, it still applies. And just, like, building up bodies with that, plus, I think he was playing Rescue Ace at the time. Like, the Rescue Ace bodies on turn 0 is insane. And then just being able to like link them into Moon, go into those plays as well is crazy. And Magnum searching another point of interaction. Plus the DD Crow effects are just so good right now.
I think if you can main deck this card, I think Bystial should be in your main deck.
Even if you don't play multiple Bystials, like a lot of decks can just play Magnum. Yeah. If you can search any dragon, like
shout out Tenpai, but resolving Magma, searching Genroku, and going off on your opponent's end phase, it should not be a thing.
I mean, even Voiceless can play one of their main combo pieces is a dragon.
I don't want this card banned, like Magma Hut banned, but I could definitely see that card being banned.
For sure. If it was at 3 right now, it would be nuts. It would be crazy.
I play Dragon Link one event, and it gets hit to 1. Come on.
Literally, dude. All right, my 3.
See, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I didn't put that on my list because I don't want that card in this video. Like, if we just cut here, I'd be okay with it, bro. Yeah, that card's insane. Like,
it's like, okay, if you can play this card, it's by far number 1.
Yeah.
Right? But I put it right in the middle. So if this wasn't on my list, Ash would probably be here. And then there would be something else down here. I'm not really sure. Maybe Ogre. I do like Ogre a lot. But if I left this off, Ash would be in place fit, and I'd probably have Ogre down here. But I mean, if you can play it, which I think in this current format, it's really weird. It's in a really weird spot because like 3 or 4 of the like good decks can play it.
Yeah.
And like of like the better decks, Ritual Beast can play it. We were talking about Sprite the other day. Literally, Sprite can play it. That's not like a prevalent deck right now, but you never know. Like it might be a contender, dude. We have Tempai can play it. There's another good deck that can play it. I can't remember.
The Exodia deck can play it, which a lot of people don't think is good, but I think that deck is very powerful.
Deck's pretty cool. It pops up. I've played it at 2 events back to back. Like
Yeah.
I played it like X1, like round 6 or something at Sacramento.
Sacramento.
But yeah, no, it's just like since half the meta is playing it, I feel like it's less impactful because you can just shotgun shifter and then be playing against a shifter deck and
Yeah.
it just not matter. But against like the best decks, against like the YuGiOh or the Fire King or the Race or the whatever, like it's really good, right?
Yeah, so like that's why I didn't put that in my list because I was telling this to Sam the other day. Sam went to a regional and he's playing the Exodia deck, and he was talking about playing the Horus engine or the Shifter engine, and I told him that I would side the Shifter engine and play the Horus in his main deck because recently, like for example, Trevor going to a regional and he played 7 out of 8 Tempais. Like
Yup.
Clifton playing 6 Tempais. Like if you're playing 6 Tempais, overall, what card is better in your main deck? Is it Shifter or is it the Horus engine?
Yeah.
So with, let's say there's 10 decks in the meta, if half of them are playing Shifter, like if you play an 8-round event,
Yep.
odds are you're not playing a deck, or you're playing against decks that Shifter does not hurt most of the time in a regional setting. Now, if you're going into a YCS and you're planning on playing into a top cut, Shifter is insane.
Yeah.
Because you're playing against YuGiOh, Snake Eye, stuff like that. So that's why Shifter's not on my list. Card's insane. Card should be banned. I will always preach that. Shout out Gary. But
Shout out.
yeah, I think the card deserves to be on the list, even though I don't like that.
We're halfway up the list now, so I need to say, should have said this from the start. These are not including cards that are at 1 right now.
Yeah, Gamma was going to be on my list.
If it's
Card's
at
insane.
1, we're not including it because that's not like an accurate representation,
Yeah.
right? Like Harpy's Feather Duster is obviously insane,
Yeah.
but you're not gonna like that's not something you can count on like consistently playing,
Yeah.
right? But hit it. Let's see what your number 2 is.
Before I get to number 2, I want you to comment below right now what you think his number 1 is. I have a guess what his number 1 is. I'm not going to say it. But anyway, we'll
It's
see.
not that crazy.
And mine is Ash Blossom.
Ash
And
Blossom.
I have already talked about it. Like, I think this card is insane right now. I think, I think it's always really powerful. I think it should be 3 of in your main deck if you're playing a hand trap
should.
deck. And I think with the decks dumbing down, like a well-timed Ash Blossom is going to make you pass your turn.
To be fair, though, I think all 5 of these should be 3-0s in your deck.
Yeah.
Like all 5 of mine, probably all 5 of his. So it's like, you know, who cares if it's 5 or 1? Like I feel like they should all be there. To be honest,
Yeah. We don't have to talk about Ash again.
Ash
That's
is-
my number 2.
Ash is solid.
Nibiru.
Nibiru, the primal being. So this one comes with a disclaimer. I think that it is absolutely insane right now. I think it like hurts basically every single deck very badly except Tempai.
It does not really hurt YuGiOh that bad.
I
That
mean,
is why I
yeah,
put talents over it.
YuGiOh does play through it, but like I think it puts pressure, and if you can like interact with that card before, it's kind of like the imperm nib thing, like
Yeah.
like with Apo. It's the same kind of deal. You just have to imperm it first. But I think that the card is really good, especially like at regionals playing against like any rogue deck. It's insane. Playing against most of the meta, it's insane. Not good against Tempai. It's like 50-50 against YuGiOh, but I think other than that, it's just like absolutely crazy.
Yep. I think it should be a 3 of in your list.
I do think that people are going to shy away from Nib at some point soon because I think a lot of combos are going to start ending or like starting on Caesar.
Yep.
Because everybody's playing Fiendsmith, and I think a lot of people are probably going to adapt to just make Caesar and then play their normal dex combo.
Yep.
As opposed to using Fiendsmith like as part of an engine. And I think that's going to, because I think so many people are going to be playing Nib, I think that's going to probably happen. And Nib will probably fall off of my list at that point. Nib goes on and off of my list all the time. Like in my mental list, I either like preach it and love it, or I just absolutely hate it. Right now, I love it. I think in about 2 weeks, I'm not going to like it as much. But
That
we'll
exact
see.
reason you said with
Yeah.
the Caesar combo is
Yeah.
why I changed it for talents on my list.
That's
That
fair.
is what I was changing when we were talking
Yeah.
about it. Because Nibiru's been on my list. I've been preaching that it should be a staple with a main deck.
Yeah.
And then, but if you're going into a big event, especially right now, if you're planning on playing Top Cut, you're playing Top 32, you're playing YuGiOh at least 2 times.
Yeah.
And Nibiru's just, they're going to make Caesar. If they have to play into Nibiru, they're making Caesar first.
Well, Yubel doesn't have to make Caesar, right? They just make a Phantom.
That's what I mean.
They
Phantom.
literally
I don't
just
know
make
why I said
Phantom.
Caesar Phantom. But
Right.
every other deck just makes Caesar.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. I just think that right now people are still like if you go to a regional this weekend or something, I feel like people are not going to be doing that as frequently.
Yeah,
But
I
I
agree.
think that in a few weeks, as the format settles down, they are. So I think that Nibiru for me is right now, when you're watching this, really good card. But I think that past the next month or so, it's not going to be as good, in my opinion. And then that would fall off of mine. But let's see what your number one is.
My number one, dude, it's in my opinion the second best hand trap ever printed, and it's Imperm. That was so long, but Imperm is insane. Yeah, you're not so people aren't playing effectively anymore, to an extent because they think that Ash isn't you don't need Veilers for Snake Eyes Ash or anything. But if you summon Snake Eyes Ash and it gets Imperm, there's not a whole lot they can do. My thing with this card is every deck's passing on the Caesar, the small non-Omni Negate cards, and if you top deck Imperm, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm Imperming you, and then I'm top decking Imperm, and then I'm normal summoning Snake Eyes Ash. Not actually, that deck sucks, but,
Well, Imperm is a card that right now, it goes in and out of formats as being a board breaker. And I think right now it's a board breaker more than a hand trap.
This card's everything, in my opinion.
Well, but like last format, you Imperm Ash, right? It's that's what you do. But I think now that's not necessarily.
You hold it for your turn.
You hold, depending on the deck, obviously, but you hold it for your turn a lot more than you did. So I think Imperm turns into a board breaker plus a hand trap plus a follow up interaction if you still have it in your hand and don't need to use it. It's really good.
One big thing for this card is with the Yubel deck is obviously insane, and the hits on the list did not hurt it that bad. But with what they changed the spell card, I can't think of the name of it right now. Summoning a Dark Beckoning Beast and it getting impermed hurts. It hurts bad. If you don't have some kind of extenders in your hand, a lot of the times they're passing their turn. And it's even if they do extend past that, you're drawing the 6th one anyway. It don't matter. You're drawing another imperm, so you're just gonna block the Caesar and kill him anyway.
Yeah, hitting the Dark Beckoning Beast does hurt. It really does. That deck specifically can usually I think push through, but that deck also has the problem that a lot of decks have to play big monsters for no reason. It just bricks a lot. So a lot of times they do have to just start with that, and that's it. But also if they have the Fiendsmith engine, they still have Area Leader. They can still go into their combo with that. They can still extend, but it's definitely not. It hurts. It hurts.
All right, let's see if Luke.
What do you think it is before I reveal it? What do you think? What do you think it is? Let's guess.
I was gonna say Dark Ruler no more,
That's crazy.
but it's Infinite Permanents. Okay, crazy.
It's Imperm. So
I just know you love Dark Ruler no more,
do.
so I just assumed he was gonna be these boards ain't nothing for this.
I do love Dark Ruler, but I don't think it's enough right now.
Yeah, Infinite, dude.
Yeah.
I think this is the second best hand trap ever printed.
Yeah, I mean we already talked about it. It's really 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 good. So what do I think are the best? These are in what I'm playing right now. My personal ranking.
I'm about to say if that's in his main deck, that's crazy.
Obviously, what this?
Is that all those cards in your main deck?
No, 3 of them are.
That's crazy.
This is in my side, and
All of these are
is
in my main
not.
deck, so it's okay.
Side, not in my deck.
He's playing some wild stuff, though.
Yeah, I'm just having fun right now.
That's okay.
But yeah, I mean, where should you actually be? Obviously, this is a staple. This is currently a staple. I do think people should be playing this. I think this card's nuts. Personally, I think Evenly is.
I'm currently not
one of
on
the
it,
best
but
cards in the
I've
format.
definitely thought about it.
I do think an honorable mention for me is Droplet. Droplet's also I think really good. I personally think honorable mentions would be Droplet and Enemy Controller. I think
Really good.
I think the tribute to either negate or take. I think the dodge cards are actually going to be really good right now, and I think that those are both really good going into Yubel, which is going to be the best deck. negate their board. They end on like crazy stuff, but like the YuGiOh cards don't necessarily like float like other decks in the past kind of have. Like Snake Eyes, they just all float back on your opponent's turn. But YuGiOh doesn't necessarily do that. So just negating, clearing their board, piecing it apart is really good, or just evenly like clearing it. So
neither of us put Mulch Army on here.
yeah, I was going to say that too. Neither of us have Mulch Army on our list. I personally, not a big fan of the current Mulch Army. I think it's cool.
I think it's insane.
I think it's good. But for me, like this is what I would want to play, and I have not even bought them. I think that the card is good, but I do not think it's max C.
I do not think it's necessary. I think the card is insane. If you have them, put it in your side deck. It's good going second regardless. But if you don't have them, it's not a miss.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather you have all of these in your deck than to have a playset.
All those are better, to be honest.
Yes.
I think that Mulch Army is cool, but I think it's a +1 in almost every matchup. Yeah. And +1s are really good, but I don't think for me personally it's worth the space to get to like possibly go +1.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's kind of the same problem I have with talents a lot. Is it's a +1 or it hand rips your opponent, but if they imperm you and you have if they imperm your one play, it just sucks. It like you look at the talents in your hand and you just want to die. So that's where I'm at with like those kind of cards, like the conditional cards. I do think that the new Mulch Army is going to be insane.
Yeah, that's save some money.
Yeah, those would be
those
would
be on
this list.
Make it a rare,
bro.
Please make it a rare.
It's a secret. We all know it's a secret.
It's a rare in the OCG, I'm pretty sure.
Would you like to get into what the team thinks?
Yeah, yeah.
So, if you guys did not know, we have won the last 6 regionals of the season. We have won
6 in a row.
Every event, basically, besides overlapping events, and even some overlapping events.
Yeah,
like weekend, last weekend.
Trevor and Clifton won a regional.
So
we're shooting for double-digit regional wins in a row. And we don't mean like actual regionals in a row that have happened, but it's 6 regionals in a row we have attended, we have won. And the last YCS we have attended, we have topped. So we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, so this is coming from the team that did that. Like these, I didn't vote in this. He didn't vote in this.
I didn't even know it was a vote.
We were excluded.
I didn't even know this was happening until I got here.
So we were excluded. But the rest of the team, so we're talking Logan, Clifton, Joe, like we're talking Tavion, we're talking Fox. Not Fox. I actually excluded him too because he was supposed to be here. But
Rip Fox.
Yeah, everybody else though, this is what they think. So, before we get to the top 5, the little asterisk down here
is that an honorable mention?
It's not an honorable mention.
Oh, is it goodgaming.com? Dimension. I was hoping it was goodgaming.com.
So, this was actually 3 in the total votes, but people stopped voting for it after a while, so it probably would have been 1. They just said to say that it is unanimously agreed that it's the best hand trap. If your deck can play it.
If you can play it, it's insane.
Yeah, they didn't want to include it in the main list because it's not a generic hand trap. Only like half the decks can play it.
That's fair.
And but they say that it is the best hand trap. So, according to the Goo Gaming players, Shifter is just in a class of its own.
You play Shifter?
Yeah.
I'm done.
So, there's that one. Now, this one. Ghost Ogre.
Let's go, baby.
Isaiah.
I won for 1.
Isaiah.
I put $100 on this. He don't know about
it. Yeah, no, Ogre's good. Ogre's good. This was a little below the others in votes, but like it was a gap, but it was the number 5. Wait, not including Shifter.
Hey, look, there's Mulch Army.
We have Mulch Army. The others do like Mulch Army. I mean, it's a really good card. I think it's one of those cards that it's like hyper competitively. Maybe having a +1 is really good.
Yeah.
And like a +1's always really good, right? It's just
I think the way I look at the card is
options.
The way I look at the card is it puts your opponent in a choke point because like today I got Mulch Army and my hand was insane. But I was talking to Jim about it. Is the way I had to play this hand out was He hand-trapped me twice. He bestialed me and he mulch me, and I was going to have to give him at least 2 more cards for me to pass on a board that wasn't just setting 2 imperms. And I could have done that, but me not knowing what he's playing, if he's playing a Nibiru in his deck and I start pushing into this, he's going to get those 2 extra cards back and Nibiru me, and he's going to have a full hand, and I'm going to have nothing. So it's like just putting that choke point of where I just passed my turn on 2 imperms and I lost anyway.
Yeah.
I think that puts a lot of stress on your opponent, and it's more of like a mind game than just a card itself.
Yeah, it is. It's just like the thing for me with the card is like, let's say against YuGiOh. YuGiOh has to summon from hand twice. That's really good, but that's a +1. It doesn't have to summon from hand 3 times. To do like their full combo, obviously it does, but like it can set up a really decent board, giving you a +1. And is that +1 really going to help you play through that board? It might. It definitely might. But I'm just looking at it.
Double Bistials off of Moltron before. That was insane.
I'm just looking at it from that perspective.
That's fair.
But no, the card is really, really good. Card is really, really good. It deserves the spot on the list. Nibiru.
Wasn't on my list.
Yeah.
I'm out of that one.
I think I didn't really ask them, but I think that they're kind of on the same wavelength as me with this. It's really, really good right now. I think probably. I think a lot of our players will keep playing it more than likely because they're just diehard Nib people, a lot of them. But like, I think as the format progresses, you'll see a lot less Nib. But right now, Nib's number 3.
Dwayne is in the house.
Nib is number 3.
Can you smell what he's cooking? Ash Blossom.
Ash Blossom. They're kind of on the same wavelength as Isaiah. Ash is super good.
It's Ash. We talked about it 6 times.
Yeah, it's super good.
All right, here we go.
I bet you can't guess. Imper. So, FYI, these 2 were tied. But I just took the liberty of placing Imperm first because I think everybody probably agrees that Imperm is just insane. But these 2 were tied.
We tied, except for if you count this one as yours because you put that in your actual list, which that's unfair. And I also call bias because he saw the list. I win.
You win?
Yeah, I win.
Dang, bro.
But yeah, I like the list.
This is pretty accurate, I think. I am really surprised that this is on here, to be honest.
Great.
Well, like, it's different, though. Like, their list is different than both of ours. But this surprised me. What is cool? I thought this would probably be like a Bestial or a...
Yeah, neither of you guys have Bestials on your list. That's why I just realized that.
Yeah.
I think these are insane right now.
I thought this would be something like that, but Ghost Ogre, man. They like Ghost Ogre. But, I mean, I can't blame them. But this is the Goo Gaming competitive teams top 5 plus Shifter. Yeah. So if you
let
guys
us know
want to check
yours
them out,
below.
Yeah, let us know yours. Put them in the comments, man. We definitely would like to see them. I know, dude, I'm going to get flamed. But I stick with it. I stand by it.
I really thought Dark Ruler or Droplet was going to be your number 1. Like, on the ride over here, I was thinking about, like, what is your top 5? And I swear on my life, Droplet was on your list, and it's not. And I'm impressed.
I love Droplet. If this was last format, Droplet would have been on my list.
Maybe
Droplet was my favorite non-engine of last format. I think it was so good.
I'm surprised he didn't put Rabina on his list, honestly.
Non-engine. Rabina. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I like them, though. I think this gives you a pretty accurate representation of what you should expect, what you should probably try playing. I think you should probably try out the honorable mentions, too. I really do think that you kind of Droplet are really good. It depends on what you're playing, too, but Dark Ruler is also good, depending on what you're playing. I like Board Breakers right now. And if people do move towards Talents, I like them even more.
Yeah, that's fair.
I like them even more.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any last thoughts? Anything about the non-engine in this format? How you think it might progress?
I think post
the new Mulch Army,
the new set Abyss, whatever. I think it's going to change a lot.
I do too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be completely different. I think everything's going to change.
You can be like Triple Toad past that set, I think, in Ice Barrier or something.
Yep.
Yeah, which is insane. So
yeah, I think
Nib. I don't know.
I think
man.
just adding the Max C Mulch Army is going to change a lot of things. I think you're going to go into more hand traps that are going to be able to play off of it, and I think the shifter decks that can play the Mulch Armies are just going to be really, really, really powerful.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, man. The current Mulch Army, right? Destroys Flu, right? Destroys it.
I knew he was going to talk about it at least once.
But shout out Gary.
If you got here, Gary, put a thumbs down in the comments, please. Or just put an Italian flag.
But so we haven't seen it at all, right? We haven't seen it at all. How do we think the new one? Like the new one, I think more people will play the new one than the current one. A lot of people will just play all 6, but Flu does nothing. Like it does nothing to that deck, and it also like Flu can play it, and it does nothing to that deck, and I think it'll take people away from playing the current one, which hurts it. So that might be something to look at.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Definitely talk about it next time.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, if you like this, guys, comment, like, check out the Thomas shirt, bro. Get one of the Goo Gaming Sucks shirts. If you thought that my list sucked, get a Goo Gaming Sucks shirt.
Should be on the store right now. Goo Gaming Sucks, baby.
It is on the store right now.
Enzo, better see you wearing it.
But thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more like this, we've talked about doing like a hand trap and board breaker version. So if you want to see those broken up and maybe have like one of the other members, maybe Fox or Logan or something on to talk about those, let us know in the comments.
Gaming.com, Doing Guard code Goo. Thank you.
Yeah. We will see you guys in the next one.